On the day that I gave birth to the boys, I was very scared. You know, it's first time you're getting all ready to your life to change. In the delivery room, they would monitor me and they had all this equipment on me, and then all of a sudden, when he pushed down on my stomach, when the placenta blew away from the uterus, I let out this really loud scream, and it was very painful. And then I just looked at my sister and I knew something was really wrong. I first realized something was wrong with Hunter. Well, he was in the NICU for a week, 8 days. And when he got released, they had told me that Hunter was going to have learning disabilities and he might be dyslexic, but they never mentioned that he may have cerebral palsy. If I had a chance to talk to the doctor today or directly to him, I would say, how dare you? How dare you take away the life that I was supposed to have? And how dare you do this to Joshua? I mean, Dan and I are older parents, and we're not going to be there now to watch them grow up. And he took away Joshua's life because Hunter might need help. And he took away Hunter maybe making love to a woman or walking down the aisle with his wife. And I'm so angry because it's not something you ever think about, but it could happen to any of us.
Every day, somewhere in America, more than 300 innocent men, women, and children become victims of medical malpractice at the hands of incompetent and negligent doctors. Last year, over 98,000 victims were killed by doctors. More than 4 million victims are permanently injured each year. Today, the Insider Exclusive goes behind the headlines and when doctors go wrong, the Tobias story, to examine how Robert Sullivan, partner at Sullivan, Papain, Block, McGrath, and Centavo, successfully represented the Tobias family in a very difficult medical malpractice case. Bob has earned the highest respect from citizens and lawyers alike as one of the best people's trial lawyers in New York and in the nation. He has seen many innocent and hardworking people injured and killed by negligent and incompetent doctors, hospitals, and nurses. Bob's passion is problem solving. He approaches each medical negligence case as a scientist trying to solve a puzzle. He has seen many patients suffer needless injury, and because of that, he is driven to help people who have been harmed by incompetent and negligent doctors. Bob's goal, to make medicine safer and more accountable, and of course, to get the justice his clients deserve. Hi, I'm Steve Murphy, and this is the Insider Exclusive, live from New York City. It is my great pleasure to introduce Bob Sullivan to the show. Welcome to the show, Bob.
Thank you, Steve.
Tell our audience a little bit about the type of law your law firm practices.
We specialize in serious accident and medical malpractice cases for victims only.
Today we're going to be talking about a medical malpractice case. Your clients are the Tobiases. Tell our audience a little bit about who they are.
Dan Tobias, New York City police officer. Fran, his wife, pregnant with twins.
Okay.
Nothing exciting about the pregnancy, but at the delivery time, knowing it was going to be twins, the doctor, I'm sure, had cesarean section in the back of his mind.
Right.
But he delivered the first twin, Joshua, naturally. Right after that, all hell broke loose. It was obvious that Mrs. Tobias was in distress. Now, that's her side of the story. The doctor, on the other hand, says, well, it wasn't that bad. And there's a 45-minute gap between the delivery of the two boys. But the telltale is the fetal monitor strips. Because instead of a he said, she said between the doctor and the victim, the fetal monitor strips show everything, second by second, minute by minute, as to what's happening.
It doesn't lie.
It never lies.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that everything Mrs. Tobias was saying was truthful, and everything the doctor was saying was not true.
Yeah.
There was no reason to wait. Had the doctor performed a cesarean section, Hunter would be healthy.
Yeah. Now, when you deposed the doctor claimed that the nurse altered the instrumentation, right?
Yes.
I mean, he lied, basically.
He lied. The nurses, to their credit, were truthful. Yeah. And they told it like it is, and the doctor then tried to say that the nurses weren't telling it like it is, just as he was saying Mrs. Tobias wasn't telling it like it is. But when confronted with the fetal monitor strips,
yeah,
the doctor had nowhere to go.
As a result, Joshua and Hunter, twins, as a result of what happened in the operating room, today Hunter suffers from
cerebral palsy.
Okay, and his cognitive abilities are okay, correct?
Yes.
It's just that he has difficulty physically and that sort of thing, correct?
Oh, sure. It's look, it's something that'll be with him for his entire life. There's no excuse for this type of action by a doctor.
Yeah, now we're in the state of New York. Every state is different when you sue a doctor for medical malpractice. There are different thresholds you have to meet. One of the reasons we wanted to do this show is in the state of New York, unbeknownst to a lot of people, that threshold's real high. What do you have to prove in order to show medical malpractice? What is that threshold?
There's two aspects to this. The first aspect is that in New York State, it's a very high threshold. For example, if you show that a doctor made a mistake in judgment, a mistake in an operating room where he can either do A or B and he goes one way or the other, a split-second decision, that's not a case.
Yeah.
A doctor's mistake is not a case for medical malpractice, no matter how serious the harm. What you have to show is that what the doctor did was so wrong that no one in the medical community would say that it was right. It was just a decision that goes against all medical standards in the community.
How did you prove that? I mean, you had to bring in experts, other doctors, to say this guy should have been monitoring the instruments better, correct?
That's the second aspect that people should know about. A victim of medical malpractice, or what they think is medical malpractice, might say, how could I ever prove that? How am I going to afford lawyers? How am I going to go about that? But the truth is this. You can come to a firm that specializes in medical malpractice cases like my firm. You tell us the facts. We get all the records, not just the hospital records, in this case, the fetal monitor strips. And we take them to experts, and we show them to the experts who tell us whether or not there's a case. If there's a case, we go forward, naturally on a contingency basis. But if there's not a case, we tell that to the victims, we show them why, but to explore it doesn't cost the victim a penny. They don't get charged. And a lot of people, if there is a case, they want to go forward with it, but they want to know. They want to look at the records, hear from an expert, and be told it's an unfortunate result, but it's not medical malpractice, or it is medical malpractice. People want to know.
Now, the other side must come forward with some witnesses to buttress their position, did they?
Sure. Look, they'll always be able to find some doctor who's going to back up another doctor. Friends, not his friend, but it's a swapping friends. Oh, I'll do this for you, you do. And they always have experts who'll testify to defend the doctor.
You've handled a lot of medical malpractice cases in your career. What did you find very interesting about this as opposed to other ones? That
the doctor, for the doctor to say that the patient's not telling it like it is one thing. But then to go and say the nurses are siding with the patient and keep saying now the nurses aren't telling it like it is. Until he's finally confronted with the fetal monitor strips and understand he knew those fetal monitor strips. He knew he was wrong. Deny it to the end.
What happened to that doctor, by the way?
Well, medical malpractice existed. The recovery happened. But it is so rare that the medical profession
disciplines them.
Disciplines their own. They do not discipline their own.
Today we have the Tobiases here, Fran and Dan. We're going to bring them on right now because this story is about them and they can tell it the best way possible. So let's do that right now. It is my great pleasure to introduce Fran and Dan Tobias to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here. There's a lot of parents that will be watching this show that may find themselves someday or even now in circumstances like with your two sons. First of all, tell us about your twin sons, Joshua and Hunter.
Well, they're both very funny.
Yeah.
We feel very fortunate that Hunter can speak, so he can tell us some things that happen in school. They both like to play the Wii game, and they, thank God, get along very well.
Yeah.
You know, they fight like twins would, but Joshua is actually very amazing with Hunter. I always say he's my godsend. I don't know what I would have done without Joshua.
Yeah. Now, you're a twin, right?
That's correct, yes.
And I'm a twin. You're a twin?
No, but twins run on my side of the family,
Okay.
so we were expecting at least two.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question. Are you close to your twin? Your fraternal twin. Are you close to her?
Yeah, actually, yes. We
Yeah.
actually bought a house 5 minutes away because I wanted to be near her. So
You find that Joshua is more protective of Hunter. Do you find that to be?
Joshua is protective, but you know he's just like a big brother.
Yeah.
He's a good brother. He understands his brother's needs, and in our household, you know, even though we have a special needs child,
Yeah.
it's a normal household. We like to make it as normal as possible.
Yeah.
There's no, we try not to make it too special for either one of them.
Tell our audience a little bit about the school system that Joshua and Hunter go to.
Well, Joshua goes to a normal grammar school, which
Yeah.
is a couple of blocks from the home, and Hunter goes to a special needs school
Yeah.
the next county over, which has almost every possible thing he could need for his education.
Yeah.
Hunter is cognitively fine, just
Right.
physically challenged. So with that, this school has almost everything he could need. It has all of his equipment, pool, he goes swimming, all his therapies, and academically he's maybe a week behind his brother in second grade.
How about friends and playtime for Hunter?
yeah, that's a little harder. We
Yeah.
do, Hunter is up at 6 a.m. He's out of the house by 7:15. He doesn't get home till 4:30. So Joshua's home by 3:10. We do homework, so it's quiet time, and then he goes out and plays with his friends. And there's a bunch of children on the block. There's probably about 30 boys. So as soon as the deal is, when Hunter gets home, we have to go in. A lot of the parents say we'll send Joshua home by 5 because dinner time is usually 5:30 at my house.
Yeah.
So then Hunter and I can do homework, and Hunter doesn't get really that many play dates, as Joshua gets one every single day. We just actually had 2 at the house this last month. So it's definitely a different, he has like a PT will come over, or we'll get a sitter that's maybe 14-year-old. We hired, you know, a 14-year-old to come over and play twice a week, and that's really his playtime.
As a result of this medical malpractice, successful medical malpractice suit, it opened up a lot of avenues that you probably would not have available to you because of the settlement that you received.
Yes.
Correct, yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, worst to best, how would you rate your quality of life now and why?
Still, I would say a 2, because we're limited with Hunter. There are certain
Yeah.
things he cannot do
Yeah.
because he can't stand. And we just started going out to dinner maybe like 2 or 3 years ago because we have a special seat that we purchased.
Yeah.
We just took our first trip in September. So you have to bring all this equipment. It's
Yeah.
not like you're just going to say, okay, a friend calls up and says, you know what, why don't we meet at the park today? You just can't do that. You
Lot of
have to
planning.
know. Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of planning. And you bring a lot of equipment with you. You have to bring like a stander or a walker or a seat, you know, because he gets tired.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, we can never just say we're just going to do something. We have to have it, everything has to be planned.
What is your proudest moment of both your sons?
I would say Hunter getting into Henry Viscardi School.
Yeah.
That was very impressive.
His school, it's, you have to pass a 2-day class.
What's the name of the school?
Henry Viscardi. And, you know, and he was accepted. So it's like a child going to college, only this is grammar school.
Right.
You know, it's just, it was just an amazing.
Real good school.
Yes, yes. You know,
what about Joshua?
Joshua is so kind to Hunter. Like, he never gets frustrated with him, which always makes me happy. Like, he'll say, you know, he'll play with him for hours, and then he's like, you know, I'm done. But he never, like, dismisses him in any way. He's always making sure, like, oh, he dropped that, I'll get that for you, Mom. You know, like, he's very thoughtful. He's always been like that. He was, thank God, very easy baby.
They have a very good relationship, the brothers.
Yeah. And
really
he has
brought
made
out a lot in him that might not have been brought out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What has been your biggest challenge thus far that you've had to overcome?
I gotta say, it was one, having the two of them. I was very nervous about having two, and then honestly, when we were told Hunter had CP, like his first few months, I told Dan at least 100 times, I can't do this. There's no way. I'm not built for this. I don't know what to do. I'm always afraid he's going to choke, and
I was very fortunate, and where I worked, I was a police officer, and across the street from the precinct was a United Cerebral Palsy facility, which had homes for people who could live independently. There was treatment, and it was a school. So I was a little more open-eyed to the what the needs were going to be of my son. And as I told my wife repeatedly, we're very fortunate. We're very, very fortunate. Hunter can communicate with us, and you know, it's of course, I'm not saying that it was, you know, all roses, but it could always be worse. And then that's the way it is in life anyway. It can always be worse. And so, you know, we did have hard times. Fran almost didn't make it out of childbirth too, due to the complications on her part. So between Hunter in the NICU, Fran almost not making it, you know, I think just getting over that hurdle was, I don't want to say it's all downhill from there, but you know, it's just challenges that come to you, and you deal with them as you can.
I feel also being a twin, you know, I know what it's like having a twin. You always have someone with you, you know, rainy day, you have someone to play with. I sit back, when we have those rainy days, Joshua is not going to be able to play with Hunter the same way. And he has said, you know, I hope when Hunter gets older, he'll walk, or he can throw a ball. And it's heart-wrenching knowing that you can't, as a parent, can't do anything about that, you know, and he can only play limited things.
What has been both of yours source of strength?
I would say Dan's been mine.
I just think it's the whole family. You know, we all pull together. Everyone gets along, everyone, you know, good and bad. We yell, we scream, we laugh, we cry, we all do it together. And we have a very good support group. We have great neighbors. We have great family, and we have extended family no matter where we go.
His aunt and uncle came out every Monday. When Dan went back to work, they were 2 weeks old. Every Monday they came out to help. And I must say, I don't think I could have done it without them, because just that little break of her holding a baby that was crying and him holding Joshua and just telling me, just sleep and get some rest. You know, you need your strength because you're going to be doing this the rest of your life. So
I want to thank both of you for being on the program, and we wish you the best of luck in Hunter and Joshua. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Bob, many people think that doctors are sued left and right, but that isn't really true, is it?
It's not true. Just as the bar is very high in New York State, the state has a requirement, it's mandatory, before a lawsuit can be filed against a doctor for medical malpractice, the records must be reviewed by an independent expert, and he must opine that yes, there was medical malpractice. I can't go out and sue a doctor for some mistake. I can't just file a lawsuit. I've got to pay money, pay an expert, have him analyze the records, and give me an opinion that, yes, there was medical malpractice.
Would you say that the medical profession polices itself pretty well when it comes to there's some bad apples, there's some bad doctors, polices itself to get rid of those doctors?
Just the opposite. They police themselves to try to improve things that happen in a hospital, but they don't report the bad doctors. They cover it up. The insurance company wants them to cover it up so nobody can point toward the lawsuit. All the hospital investigations are confidential. The victims never get to see those. And they don't cover it up. I will go so far as to say that unless a doctor sexually molests a patient, you almost never see a doctor get suspended or lose his license.
Or disciplined.
Ever.
Right.
Very, very, very rare.
Thank you for joining us on this show. You've really illustrated what it takes to successfully sue a doctor when they're wrong.
Steve, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.